Hello there, this is Robert Elrod. I'm doing my first live broadcast, live streaming drawing here on Instagram. And today I am going to do some inking on this Man-Thing sketch. And you're welcome to hang out, ask questions. I'll try to answer them if I notice them. The thing is, the camera is over the artwork, and as you can see, my head will be down looking at the artwork. So if I miss your question, please ask again, or I don't know. Let me know some later date, and I'll try to do a better job on this. This is my first time doing this, so I really don't know what I'm doing yet. So thanks for hanging out. So here we go. I like to ink with these Copic multiliners. I'm going to start out with this 0.3. It's not the biggest, kind of in the middle size-wise. And I'm going to do just some of the basic outlining work, and then I'll come back with smaller ones and add detail and do some different stuff. So thanks again for joining me, and hope you get something out of this. And I hope you're all doing well. So here we go. I like to just start with some of the thicker stuff. And this is going to be, this is Man-Thing. It's a Marvel Comics character. He's more on the horror side of things, but he does team up with superheroes at times, for those of you that may not be familiar with the character. He's the guardian of the nexus of all realities in Marvel Comics, so he's a monster, but he does, I guess, try to help people and protect the world from extra-dimensional threats or something like that. But yeah, it's just a fun old classic comic book monster that I just enjoy drawing because he's so gnarly and gross and weird and just kind of fun. So for those of you that aren't tuning in live, I'll be sharing this, YouTube, Facebook, all the fun places I can figure out how to share it later. But it's my first time, so please understand if I miss questions, or if I don't talk enough, or I'm not as entertaining as maybe I could be. So as you can see, I like to kind of build the lines, make what I mean by that is you can see I do multiple strokes to get the line thicker. With a brush, you can do this stuff much more effortlessly by changing your angle, applying pressure, doing a quick whipping of the wrist. You'll see me do some of that kind of stuff with like this, where I just kind of quickly throw the line to get these little hairs, which could be grass or some other kind of weird organic matter. Just you can see too that even though this is the middle size of this set of pins, I can get some thinnish strokes. And I like to do that. I like to go one direction for a longer stroke, and then at the end, to indicate sort of a turning of the form or maybe a core shadow type thing, I'll come back the other way and make like a thicker area. That helps create volumes and build out the shapes. Now this isn't a commission or anything. I'm just doing it to take to a show or offer up online or whatever at some point. And as I mentioned, this is a character I've just enjoyed over the years. It's fun to draw. It's weird. It's hard to script the Man-Thing because you can do pretty much whatever you want. I mean, everybody draws him a little differently. Now, my version of him is kind of inspired by some of the older guys like Mike Plug and Val Merrick and guys from the 70s. I don't know if you can see that in the design, but that's pretty much who I think about when I'm drawing this guy, this monster. That's the stuff I grew up with, those artists. Now you'll see too that I won't follow my lines exactly from the pencils. Sometimes I'll get in here and I want to embellish a little bit. Otherwise, you're kind of just tracing, and that's not as much fun as doing your thing. And you'll see too that I'm thickening up areas to add weight to them. So I'm kind of thinking of my light being up in this area coming down at him. So you'll see that things will be thicker on the underside here typically. Like this brow form I want to come forward. So I'll thicken it up. And you'll see I'll leave some open areas too. That's for your mind to kind of fill in. And when you look at the overall picture, the overall image, your mind will fill in some of these gaps without any work on your part. So here I'm adding a little dimple of material. I mean, he's made out of swamp muck, mud and dirt and branches and twigs and things like that. So who are some of your favorite monsters to draw from comics? Those of you that are watching. And I apologize if I haven't seen any comments yet, or I see Casket Art saying, "What's up?" Just doing a little inking today on the sketch. I got my second COVID booster last night. Made for some weird dreams, some fun weirdness. I kept waking up from just weird dreams. So my left shoulder where I got the shot's a little sore, but otherwise I'm doing great. Hey Kevin, thank you. I appreciate that. I do love the giant sized man thing. I know you've seen me draw him several times over the years. We used to do cons together quite often. I miss those days, buddy. Those were fun times. So next weekend, I'm going to be out in Kansas City at Planet Comic Con. So I wanted to take some comic book related type things with me, and since I started sketching this at I didn't start. I sketched this 11 by 17 piece last weekend, or no, the weekend before at in Loveland at the inaugural Wicked West Comic Expo. And I can see, I'm going to have to redraw that one leg that's kind of jutting out over here, but I was drawing flat. Normally I like to draw on my angled table, so I got the proportions a little off. That leg needs to come out a bit further, but for today, for this anyway, I'm just going to concentrate on inking up this face area. These things take a bit, so I don't know how much further than that I'll get during this live stream. Probably not too much further, I would bet. And I do appreciate those of you that are here. Being my first time, and I didn't announce what time I was going to come on. I wasn't certain I was going to be able to make this happen. I was worried that I wasn't going to be set up where I could see the questions if there were any of the comments. And as it turns out, I can just look up here and I can see the comments if I just lean back a little bit and look up at the phone I'm using to film this. So how many of you have done your own live stream on here before? Be interested to know how it's gone for you, or if you have any tips for the next time I do this. I would love to hear your comments, particularly since I don't have any experience with the live streaming, really. Yeah, any tips would be very much appreciated. So Kevin, I see you say that you've done this a couple of times, and it was pretty straightforward and with no plan. I didn't really have a plan either, just that I was going to ink this. But did you have people comment, and were you able to stay up with the comments when you did yours? I know I've only got a few people on here watching, but I was worried that there would be a lot of comments and I'd have a hard time. Did you have any trouble with that yourself? This is really interesting to do. Normally I have music blasting while I draw because the music keeps me kind of focused. Even though I do like to sing along and, you know, do the air guitar and all that stuff while I'm drawing. So this is pretty different for me. So I appreciate you all bearing with me. And I mentioned earlier that once this is over, I'm going to try to save the file where I can share it back up on YouTube, or possibly replay it somewhere else. You know, again, no experience with it, so I don't know if that's going to be an easy thing for me to do, or if I'll totally blow it on that, but we'll see. Let's see, it looks like I missed a couple of questions here. Let's see, or comments. Kevin says, no, I hadn't figured that out. I just have a cheap bendy stand for my phone, and I pointed it out my drawing space. I've been meaning to revisit it. Okay, yeah, I get that. I've got a phone here on a little arm. You can see it shaking because I'm scrolling and reading comments. Yeah, so I'm doing the same kind of thing, I guess. I've got a little arm here, and it's just using an old phone. I've got two phones. When I got a new one, I kept the old one just for filming this kind of stuff. And it's worked pretty well so far. But this is the first time I've tried to field questions or talk to people while doing this. And yes, Denver Comic Fest, I agree. Some Doobie Brothers would be pretty nice right now. But, you know, I don't want them kicking my video off because I can't play copyrighted music. But yes, I do enjoy some Doobies. Yes, Rio. There's no Michael McDonald in the background, and no, I'm not going to sing for you today. Nobody needs that today. I'll torture my wife with some of that later. But yeah, for now, it's just me droning on and on while I pick away at this. Again, I really do appreciate those of you showing up, and your comments are much appreciated, much welcome. So I hope you're all doing well today. As I mentioned earlier, I do like to sort of build my lines, I got a medium size pen here. It's a 0.3, and it's a Copic multiliner, and black, of course. I do have some sepia ones that I only recently picked up, and I haven't tried them yet. So I'll have to do that at some point. Get some brown paper out and some craft paper and give that a try. Or maybe something cream colored, or I don't know. Something that makes sense with sepia. So when I sketched this originally, I was thinking I was going to submit it to a contest, but I knew I wasn't going to make the deadline, so here I am, just scratching away at it. Figure somebody will like it at one of the shows I do, hopefully, and give it a home. Give my man thing a home. I've drawn this guy so many times over the years. It's one of my favorite monsters to draw. There's just so much you can do with him. There's no set way to do this character. Just make him gross. Yeah, I usually do start from the left to the right, being a righty. That way I'm not dragging over my ink. This stuff does dry pretty quickly. This is one of those cheap Strathmore 300 Bristol pads, and I have I believe it's the vellum finish. No, this is smooth. Sorry. This is the smooth stuff. I've got so many of these pads, I always forget which one I'm using. But yeah, I generally go left to right. Sometimes I want to work on the character, so I'll start on the character first and move around. Now, if I'm going to do that, I've got this big box that I work on. So I made this little T-square type thing to keep my hand off the drawing. I can do this too without getting it in the art and smudging anything. I use that quite a bit when I'm doing graphite drawings. Maybe I'll have to do another one of these with some of the graphite stuff to show how I work on those things. If you guys like this, I might be too boring to watch. But yeah, this is what I typically do when I ink. And I did recently get a couple of dip pens. I also like to use these Pilot parallel pens. For those of you that haven't seen these, they are made for calligraphy, but they have two flat blades and they come in different widths, and the ink flows down through them. This one, I filled the barrel up with Rapidograph ink, so it's waterproof, and then I can, do spatter on it with FW acrylic, or even some more of that Rapidograph ink, or brush onto it. I can go back later and add watercolor or whatever because it's waterproof. But generally I like to use these two because they're portable and they're pretty inexpensive for the most part. Let's see here. So yeah, as I said before, if you're using a brush, you can build up these lines a lot quicker, with pressure or angle of the brush. And sometimes I like to do that, but just for quick and not messy, this is what I typically use, these Copic multiliners. You do have to be a little careful with them because it's really easy to damage the tips. I remember when I first got some of these, I had somebody come up to the table who I had just met, didn't know them very well, or I didn't at the time, but they wanted to borrow a pen to write something down, and they just kind of grabbed one off my table, and they just destroyed the tip, heavy-handed. So that's yeah, that's kind of sad, but that happens. people don't know the product, or they're in a hurry and don't think about what they're doing. But that's something that I've done myself. As you use these things, the little felt pad on the end there gets worn down. You can't replace these, but they do have a series that you can replace them on, and I have some of those too, but these are just so easy to use. I prefer to grab them and just go. So yeah, if you see me at a show sketching with ink, it's more often than not going to be with these guys, because I don't have to set up a water bin to wash a brush or rinse off my nibs. You know, those little metal nibs. You can't leave the ink in them, or it'll make a mess of them. Yeah. You can see I like to do directional lines. Did a little cross-hatching over here, but mostly I just do directional stuff for the most part. I really admire guys like Jonathan Wayshak and there's lots of guys I admire who do ink work, who can do the cross-hatching really well. Mark Nelson, oh my God, that guy knows so many different techniques, and he's an awesome dude. He's got a lot to teach you if you have the time and you can get him cornered. Really nice dude. But yeah, this is typically what I do, how I do it. Trying to model the form using these lines like this. So even with this sort of middle size, I can get pretty fine little strokes. Show how the forms turn here. You can see I was indicating a core shadow coming down here, so let's darken that up. So for those of you watching, I intentionally picked sort of an inconvenient time of the day for people to join, because being the first time out, I didn't want too many people right here when I screw up, or I'm boring as heck, and it's just, wasn't sure how this was going to go. I guess on the playback I'll really know how this went, but I'm hoping this is interesting for those of you that have joined. I'm not the fastest inker, but I'm always happy to share what I'm doing. If anybody has any questions, please feel free. Probably come back with a thicker pen for that area. So here I'm using directional lines to try to describe this form here a little bit. So, somebody's saying no here. What, let's see. Do I know Comic Festival Fumetto in Switzerland? I do not. I would love to go to that, but I'm sure that I wouldn't be able to afford that. But yeah, I would love to do a show in Switzerland. That'd be awesome. I've never been to Switzerland. I've been to Italy. I've been to Ireland a couple times. but never for shows. I'd love to try that sometime. I don't know. I guess it's kind of taking shape here. Hopefully I'm not wasting your time too much. And this isn't too dull for everybody who's shown up. I know these things aren't always that captivating when they're unscripted and they're live, but this is me. Not the most exciting all the time. Just trying to make it happen here. So I haven't really done a lot of inking in a while. I've mostly been working with graphite. Doing a lot of rendered pieces. Here's one that's in the works that I need to get back to. I've let it sit for too long. I feel really bad about it. We've had a lot of side stuff going on here. We've been doing some remodeling of the house, and now I'm into con season, so I've been super distracted. But I got to get back to that and get that finished. I've got a few of them to do for Kickstarter backers from a project I started last year. Yeah, so this is a little, I don't know, going back to what I did for a long time, just inking pieces like this. It's pretty satisfying to be able to jump back in and kind of pick up where I was before. Hopefully I don't make a mess of this. And if I do, whatever. It's a sketch. It's not a commission. Nobody's laid claim to it yet. So it's really just for fun at this point. Yeah, I've always loved this character. He just so weird and kind of sad looking, and I mean, it's a sad story. He didn't start out life as this thing, so he's kind of a cursed being. Let's see here. I keep waiting for Marvel movies to actually work this guy in there. I know they teased him a little bit in Thor Ragnarok with his head being on that building, but I really just want to see him do his man thing on the big screen. Maybe they'll work him into the Doctor Strange movie. That would be the obvious place to put him. Or maybe we'll get him in one of these Disney Plus shows. Could see him showing up for something crazy in one of those. Quick little cameo or something. Let's see, how long have we been on here? No, I didn't even look to see when this was going to start. Yeah, Kevin, I can definitely let you know if he's in the new Doctor Strange. I'm going to go see that on the 5th when it comes out. Looks like it could be a kind of a wild one. Give him a little texture in there on those sad, droopy lower eyelids here, or bags under his eyes, I guess. It's not really an eyelid, is it? You never see him blink. Wonder what they'll do if they ever do put him in live action. I wonder if they'll make him blink. That might be kind of freaky. Of course, it might be even freakier for him to not blink. It's weird. It sure was weird when they made the Ewoks blink. Like they weren't creepy enough, but yeah. So this is the basic gist of how I ink a piece. I just pick an area, go to town on it, pretty much render it all out as much as I can, and then I'll step back at some point and say, okay, this part needs a little darkness, or that part needs some splatter, or I need to go back in with the white pen or a brush and some white ink or something to fix a piece. But yeah, that's my basic process. And I just plug away until it's done. So, yeah. Let's see. Need some stuff going on there. Okay. Well, again, thank you everybody who has shown up to watch, to check it out. I appreciate that. It's my first time doing this live on here or on any platform, honestly. And as I mentioned earlier, I picked this time of day because I figured there wouldn't be too many people jumping on. But I do appreciate those of you who've found a few minutes to join me. Oh, thank you. Let's see. By the way, I'm trying to keep myself under control. Usually I'm doing this, I'm singing along to something and making sound effects and being a goober and just having fun. And right now I'm just trying to keep myself from embarrassing myself too much. Let the drawing do that for me, I guess. Yeah, let's make that stand out some more. Just add some weight to it here. No, Carly, I'm not. Geez, no, Carla, I'm not. I won't be at Monsterpalooza this year. I think I'm back on the band list. I had to cancel when the pandemic rolled around because I had, we got postponed, and then I had agreed to do another show before he picked the new dates, and then he and I had a conversation about the show, and I don't think he was very happy with some of the things I said. Sadly, I've never made money at Monsterpalooza. I love going to the show. I love seeing everybody and all the fantastic work, but I don't know what it is about California. I've never been able to make money out there, and I know not every show is about making money, but it's not cheap to travel that distance and to bring all the stuff I bring, and hotels are never that affordable out there. So yeah, it's hard to justify the expense, sadly. Oh, thank you. User Vion4444 says, "Wow, loving the progress of your inks. I really appreciate that." It takes time. It takes a lot of time and to make all these little marks. But yeah, you can kind of see it coming together slowly, very slowly here. But yeah. So yeah, I would love to come out to Monsterpalooza sometime just as a visitor and enjoy it again. Won't be this year though, at least not in June. We had a concert that we bought tickets for, I don't know, 2 years ago, that got rescheduled for that same time. So we'll be going to that instead, since we already had the investment made and all that fun. But yeah, if he does a fall show and it doesn't land on dates I'm already scheduled to do something else, I would love to maybe come out and check it out again. Yeah. But yeah, Monsterpalooza is not cheap to do, but it is a wonderful show, and it's great seeing everybody there. And hi, Nicole. Yeah, it's a great show. So definitely want to come out again. Just won't be in June. I do have plans to go out to LA in October. There's a Giger exhibit they're putting on out there. They've somehow collected a bunch of pieces of furniture and sculptures and some of his originals. original paintings and drawings to show, so I'm going to go check that out. That looks so awesome. Can't wait to see that. So yeah. Well, because I didn't really pay attention to what time I started this, I think I'm going to cut this off in just a few minutes here. Let me get this other eyeball in here, and I'll probably do that, and then see how I did with saving the file and all that, and I'll share it so you can go back. Those of you who joined late can go back and see where this started and listen to my ramblings or fast forward over the rambling. Oh, thank you. I appreciate the kind words. I used to do a lot of ink drawing. Last few years, it's been mostly graphite. But this is a fun distraction. You know, when I don't have a ton of time to just sit and focus, I can ink for a little bit and then put it aside and come back to it later, because I pretty much ink the same way every time I ink a piece, pretty much. Sometimes I'll simplify the way I shade, and I'll try to use spatter for the midtones or something, but it's usually this kind of feathered line thing I like to do. So, yeah, this is fun. I hope some of you get something out of this. Oh, hey, Brant. Hope you're doing well. And hey, Steven and Rob. Hope everybody is having a good day. Just having a little fun here with the man thing. Just throwing some ink on him here. Hoping to get this guy ready to take with me for next weekend in Kansas City. I figure since it's a comic show, might be a good place to show off my man thing. That's right, Kevin. Always try to have fun with my man thing. That's right. I still remember that first convention we did together down in Albuquerque. We had Matt Campbell drive down with us, and after the show was over, he no longer had a room to stay in, so he had to stay with us that last night before we drove back, and we're all just so tired and laughing about commissions and sketches and people's books and stuff. And I remember saying that if someone wasn't specific about what they wanted, they always got a Man Thing sketch from me, because I thought it was just a funny thing to do. I still think it's funny. But yeah, that was a good time. That was the first time I met Bernie Wrightson, I think. I think that was my whole reason for wanting to go down to that show. And then Dan Crozier introduced us, and you guys rode down with me. That was great, getting to meet you guys and getting to hang out, make some new friends, and just go have some fun. That was a good time. So yeah, I'm gonna call this here in a minute. I really appreciate everybody stopping by. I hope you enjoyed seeing how I work, and I'll post this again elsewhere. And if you have any additional questions or you want to, I don't know, make comments, you'll have another opportunity there. And I really appreciate you being here while I ramble. Thanks. Have a great day.